At the starting of the film, we see a man named Daniel, who was taking out the ball of his son from the pool. His son's name was Eric. Eric often hears some strange voices at night. Because of this, the nature of Eric was changing. He remained silent and his behavior with his parents was also not good. After seeing the condition of their son, his parents call a psychiatrist. That lady talks to the Eric. Eric tells about the voices that are audible to him at night. He says that the voices ask him to draw a painting. These things seem weird to that lady. She tells his parents that these are just his imaginations, because recently you are shifted to a new house, that's why your kid is feeling alone. On the other side, Eric was making a drawing, and psychiatrist also leaves from there. During the driving, a fly moves into that lady's ear and suddenly that lady's eyes were filled with blood. Meanwhile, the car loses its balance and collapses with a tree. Here she dies a painful death and that fly also moves out of her ear. Eric had also completed his drawing, in which the branches of the tree are bleeding. Daniel sees that there are many flies in the small part of the wall. He was irritated by the flies and he was trying to make them fly with the spray. But then Eric calls him. He says please take out the ball from the pool. Then Daniel takes out his son's ball. Then Daniel's wife calls Eric for the shower. Eric was also listening to the strange voices in the bathroom from the walkie-talkie. After it, Eric asks his mother that his father doesn't love him. On it, his mother replies that no son, there is nothing like that. Your father loves you a lot. At the midnight, some horrible and strange voices were coming from the pool. Daniel wakes up and goes to close the gate. But then Daniel sees that his son was talking with someone on the walkie-talkie. In Eric's room his toy automatically starts. He turns off that toy. But then he realizes that someone is standing behind the curtain. Due to it he gets scared and goes back to his bed. But then Eric feels that someone's slowly moving towards him. Suddenly Daniel and his wife comes there and relaxes their son. Daniel's hand hits the photo frame and it falls down. Due to it his hand gets wounded and starts bleeding. The next day, Daniel's wife tells him that our kid had been suspended from school. Because he did a strange thing in the school, he hides there in a cupboard and he also bites the principal. So her mother says that the psychiatrist will come every day to meet you. But Eric answers that the doctor is dead. Hearing it, his parents thought that our kid is talking uselessly. After some time, Daniel comes to know that the psychiatrist was actually dead. But then they think that someone maybe told Eric in the school about the death of that psychiatrist. At night, Eric was again hearing some voices from that walkie-talkie. While hearing those voices he was also making a drawing. Then we see the soul of a lady in Eric's room. Daniel also hears some voices that are coming from the pool. He goes outside to check. Going there he finds the clothes of his son. Due to it he gets worried. He runs towards the pool. While listening to Daniel's voice his wife also wakes up. She goes to her son's room to check him. But she doesn't find her son there. When Daniel arrives near the pool he finds the dead body of his son floating in the pool. Daniel immediately takes his son's body outside. After losing their son his parents were sad. Then his mother decides to go to her mother's house for a few days. Suddenly she sees a blood spot on the bed. She thinks that maybe due to the injury on Daniel's hand. After it Daniel's wife leaves from there. Then we see Daniel was watching those videos when they newly shifted in this house. Then Daniel hears some voices around him. He turns off the TV and about to leave from there. But the TV automatically turns on. Daniel again turns off the TV and comes outside and says hello on the walkie-talkie. But he doesn't get any response from the other side. Then Daniel sends a voice message to her wife, to know about her. After some time, his wife calls him and asks that are you okay? Because there were strange voices in your voice message. When the call ends Daniel listens to that voice message. He gets shocked after listening to that voice note. Then to hear the voice accurately he listens to that voice in his laptop. This time he hears the voice of his son, who was asking for help. Here Daniel feels all these things are paranormal. Then he goes to meet a paranormal investigator named German. Daniel tells him about all the incidents which happened in his house. He also tells him about his son. Then German arrives at Daniel's house with his daughter named Ruth. Ruth sets the cameras in the whole house. Then after setting all things they try to listen to the voices in that house. Ruth sees someone was sitting in the room. She tells this to her father. She says that Daniel is coming on the camera, ask him to go outside, but his father says that he can't be Daniel, because he is sitting outside. German goes to that room for checking, but he didn't see anyone there. He listens to the voice of Ruth. She was saying to leave that room as soon as possible, because a soul was near her father. Suddenly a loud sound produces in German's headphone. Due to it, German confirms that something paranormal is happening here. At night, German sees someone outside the room. He comes out while following that thing. German sees that there was his wife who died many years ago. She gives him food and wine. She says that we will stay together always. Then she starts cutting the hand of German with a sharp knife. Suddenly Ruth comes there and brings her father back in his senses. Then we sees that he is cutting the hand by his own. On the other side, we sees that Daniel's wife receives a call, and it was her son Eric who died a few days before. He was saying to her that Daniel had brought someone at home to harm him. Daniel's wife asks him, "Where are you right now?" He says, "I am hiding under my bed." After it, she decides to go back home as soon as possible. On the other side, Ruth sees that there were many dead bodies of cats were hanging on a tree. When Daniel was burying the dead bodies of those cats, his wife comes there. She asks Daniel that what are they doing here and what people have you brought home. After it, Daniel's wife goes to see her son under the bed. After some time Daniel's wife sees her son. She was about to go to him, but Eric immediately goes under the bed. When his mother sees under the bed, she sees the feet of someone on the other side of the bed. Due to it, Daniel's wife gets scared, and she tries to escape from there, but then she finds a lady behind her and the scene again cuts here. German tells Daniel about this house, that many years before a witch was tortured and killed in this house, and the dead bodies of cats that were found was actually used in black magic rituals. During this, Daniel's wife hangs herself and commits suicide. Here we sees that her ear was bleeding and a fly also coming out of her ear. Daniel becomes very sad after this, but he decides to find the truth behind his wife and son's death. Then suddenly that ghost attacks Daniel. Ruth was seeing the footage of Daniel's wife. She notices that when Daniel's wife hanged herself, that ghost was also there. Then they hear the voice of Daniel from the walkie-talkie. They hurriedly go there and tries to relax Daniel. Then German tells him about a room where that witch was harassed. Daniel says, "I know about that room." Daniel breaks that wall where he sees flies before. Here they find a secret room, and there was also the skeleton of witch. After touching that skeleton, German comes to know that, how that witch was being tortured. Then they decide to burn the skeleton. German decides to sprinkle the petrol on that skeleton, and he asks Ruth to wait outside. But as he goes underground, the flashlight stopped working. Suddenly that witch attacks German. Ruth calls her father many times, but no voice comes from inside. Then Ruth sees her mother. She was calling Ruth near her. Ruth understands that it was the trick of that witch, so she doesn't go to her mother. Due to it, her mother disappears from there. After it, the witch comes in reality and starts frightening Ruth. On the other side, Daniel was searching for the petrol. Then he sees his wife and son. They were asking Daniel to live with them. Hearing it, Daniel hugs them, but actually it was the witch. Now Daniel was entrapped by the witch. That's why he sprinkles the petrol on himself, and he was about to set himself on fire. Along this, German was doing preparations to burn that skeleton, but then Ruth comes there and attacks her father, because she was possessed by that witch. Then at the same time, German succeeds to set that skeleton on fire. Due to it, Ruth comes to her senses and Daniel was also saved. Now everything seems to be normal. Daniel was watching the drawings made by his son. He sees that the method of everyone's death was already decided. While seeing a drawing, Daniel falls into thought. He remembers of that night when he hears the strange voice. He was possessed by a fly and he killed his son while drowning him in the pool. When he slept, that fly came out from his ear, and a drop of blood fell on the pillow, and his wife was thinking that was the blood of his wound. After knowing all this, Daniel feels sad. He was also regretting that what he had done. Suddenly he goes near the pool and kills himself while shooting with a gun. Here we come to know that Eric had already drawn the method of his father and his own death, and the movie ends here. I hope that you liked the video. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.